my wife my wife, my wife kind of pulled me to the side and told some friends that invited us for dinner. What she had did was she went behind my back and she snitched. I told her not to tell anybody. I was handling it by myself. However, but she went behind my back and talked to a close friend of ours, first lady, who she discussed with her husband, and he had said, invited me to dinner and told me I had someone they wanted me to meet, much like you all would probably invite here tonight. But anyway, I went on, and in spite of, I just felt like I was at a point where nothing couldn't help me. But something in my spirit said I owed it to my wife, who had been struggling to help me, that being in and out of the emergency rooms with me, that was doing everything she could, fighting for me, right? And so I said I should go look, and for my children, who I love so much, right? So I pull up what I had left, and I went, and the rest was history. You know, I met a gentleman when I walked in the way by the name of Mr. Tim Trahan, and this gentleman looked me deadness in my eyes and told me that he was dealing with diabetes. He didn't try to compare his situation just totally to mine, but he could tell me about the diabetes, and that alone got my attention, right? So I tried what was about 6 to 8 ounces, maybe not that much, of one of the products, right, that I know now as Belage, right? And I came home that night planning on being the same thing as usual. I'd sit in a lazy for a chair and I would not go to sleep, no, none of that, and be dealing with the neuropathy and other pains and whatnot. So I asked my wife, I said, baby, won't you watch a little bit of Yellowstone with me before you go to bed? We had it on recorded. And she said, she agreed. She said, look, I got to do something in the kitchen and do something in the bathroom, and I'll be right with you, right? So she came out after doing that, right? And the last thing I remember is she had the remote control towards the TV, and all of a sudden, that's the last thing I remember. So I'm waking up and I'm looking throughout my back window and seeing sunlight, and of course I of course I saw sunlight, but I've always saw going to bed as opposed, I mean, going to bed as opposed to getting up. And then I'm like, I'm just baffled because this hadn't happened to me in 30 plus years. And then another complication, I'm not trying to be too much out there, but I need you all to understand that I went to the restroom. And when you're diabetic, you'd have to go to the restroom, trying your best to make it. Usually I stumble trying to get there, trying just that little distance and out of breath. I walk to the restroom with no problem. But I had pressure on, usually you have pressure on you and you really got to go. And when you get there, it's just a tinkle. Man, I got there that morning, it was like Niagara Falls. And I never forget, I'm in that bathroom, I'm like, as soon as she get up, I'm going to get some more of this, right? And I didn't totally understand it, but I knew I was going to get some more of it and find out more about it. So when my wife so I sit back in the chair, because that morning it was about 6 o'clock or so, it was as long as I had slept, and the earliest I went to sleep in about 30 plus years. I sit back in that same chair, and I knowing I'm not going to go back to sleep because I had been up that long, had slept that long, and no, I wasn't going to sleep. So I had my phone, I was going to play some chess, maybe play some games, do some research or something like that. And I was glad about what had happened. Before I know it, I'm getting up again. I just slept another 6 hours. It's about 12 in the afternoon. My wife is standing over me with her mouth open. And she's like, "Are you okay? What we going to do? What we going to do? We're going to get some more of this right now." Now, almost 3 months or so later, give or take a little bit, I'm 75 pounds lighter. Those 4 to 6 shots have turned into one or two shots every 10 days, if that. The blood pressure is better than it's been, and I don't know how long. And I got my life back. And I've been laughing and smiling with my wife because I've lost that 75 pounds, and I oftentimes look in her face and tell her, "Oh, baby, you can't stand it, can you?" And she look at me, she say, "Too bad it didn't help you with that big head you getting." So, ma'am, I thank you for having me here, and I can laugh and smile. But when you go from where I was to where I am, you can't do anything but thank God. Now, the product I look at it in many ways as a miracle, but I honestly believe that also a miracle is your body. Because when you give your body what it needs, it'll begin to self-correct, but it have to have what it needs to do that. And these products, I call them the Fabulous Four. People oftentimes ask me which one is the best. I answered the same way my mama did when they said, which one of your children is the best? My mom said all of them. So I would say that about Miss Craft. I might have got to run in my mouth a little bit, ma'am. But please forgive me if I did. But I'd like to thank you for the time to be able to express, because I want for the world what took place with me, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. You're God sent, ma'am.
Thank you. We just appreciate you taking the time to be with us this evening. And yeah, and running your mouth is exactly what I wanted you to do. So I wanted everybody to hear your full testimony and not just, the highlights. I want them to understand, what you were going through and how your life was impacted, and how the products, basically gave you your life back. And let me ask you another thing too, because were you in pain before were your mobility impacted or anything like that?
Ma'am, it was impacted in ways that you can't believe. Like I said, I'm a football vet, right? Had things going on that you couldn't even imagine, right? Also dealing with diabetic neuropathy, right? And if anybody have ever experienced it, you talk to them, they'll tell you it's the equivalent of walking on bottle glass, right? And it could hit you, you feel like somebody stabbed you in the side out of nowhere, and there's just a real mundane situation, you know. And it just took me places in my mind, when you're going through that type of pain, that every single thing you do is associated with pain. You think about running around with your children, but that's diminished. You think about going and work in the backyard, that's diminished. Every aspect of your life is impacted by that. So I got to the point where I didn't want to take all the drugs and things of that sort. I was even off at morphine. They came at me several times about amputation. You name it, ma'am. So I spent most of my life wondering how could I fight off getting a body part amputated. That's what take place, ma'am. So when
Wow.
you say was in pain, there are no words to explain it. But when I took that first drink, my pains have been diminished overall 80+%. And I'm not only am I sleeping, I'm resting. I get up, and when I wake up, it's on and crack-a-lacking. I'm ready to do something, ready to move around, and my energy is better than it's been in about 30+ years, ma'am.
Well, I'm excited for you. And the one thing I know is if you've had this kind of results in just a couple of months of taking this product, I'm just excited of what's going to happen. If everything has been reduced and corrected by 80% so far, what's going to happen in a month or, in 6
Wow.
weeks of taking these products? Can you believe it?
My neighbor,
found it. Go ahead.
my neighbor made a joke. I went by his house, and I've been staying next door to him about 12 years. And he said, "Wow, I almost asked you for your ID." Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know what? And that's awesome. And just to think 75 pounds, because the first time I heard your testimony, you were saying 40 pounds, but you had been
Yes,
doing
ma'am.
it for a month at the time. So now you've been
Man,
doing it for a couple of months, and now it's wow.
that therm that thermogenesis and all the process that work with it. Man, I started taking these products and went in about I had a sugar craving because when you deal with diabetes, the sugar craving is unreal. I heard Mrs. McKinney say that sugar was the first crystal meth, and I totally agree with her, right? I think it was her who said that, and I totally agree with her. It is, and once it's in your bloodstream, you fight that, you fight with it, and we get weak. That's what you're looking for and it puts you on the high, and it keeps you on a roller coaster that won't stop. But these products, within about 3 or 4 days, I lost my craving, right? And also my food bill was cut down about maybe 70. I went from 5, 6 meals a day, eating them and still being hungry, to consuming the Hasaki and other products right now, the Velage, the Cornute Fire, and the Inner 7, right? And I'm good with 1 meal a day, and usually don't finish that. And what I like about it, because it helps you control those urges and whatnot, that I moved to a place that when you're not in a hurry to eat, and when it's under control, you're gonna make way better decisions than if you're hungry all the time. That's just bottom line.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I've been myself been trying to do the 1 meal a day and the Hasaki for breakfast and dinner, and a couple of, light snacks. And you're right, not hungry, not just like famished like you would think. I thought I couldn't do 1 meal a day. I'm like, no way can I do it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're gonna starve to death, but not,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's part of why you was able to lose all that weight too, huh?
Yes, ma'am. I
Oh,
made my mind up because
it wasn't just
at my,
water weight. It wasn't just water weight.
no, ma'am, it was bad fluid. It was mucus. It
Mm,
was all the things, and so a lot of that pressure alone really helped. Helped me with my challenge with the diabetes and things I was exposed to in the Gulf War and otherwise. You know, it's been tremendous. And I'm gonna tell you what's been great. I've been sharing it with the masses, you know, and I'm getting results from people anywhere from my nephew, how old was this, 2015? From my nephew, Ray, all the way to people as high as 91, 92. You know, one gentleman was saying that he needed it, and after he tried it, he was in tears, and we're like, why are you in tears? He's like, please don't leave my house without leaving me that, you know, and we did just that, you know. So it's not just me, you know. I've been able to share it with people who, you know, just they calling me back. If they get a sample, they calling me back, literally begging for it, you know. And it just works. It just works. Yes, ma'am.
well, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Well, we're gonna, I don't know if anybody has any questions or anything like that they want to ask you. If anybody has any questions for Mr. Singleton, you can certainly unmute yourself. And you know, before we let him go, we really appreciate him taking the time to be here. So anybody have any questions they would like to ask Mr. Singleton? You have to unmute yourself. If not, guys, we'll just you know, if you have any other questions after the call, you know how to reach me. Just call me, text me, or whatever. So thank you so much.
Bonita Godfrey.
Okay.
Greetings. Good work, Bonita, and quite interesting testimony, Mr. Singleton. It seems as though you went through a lot, and you've come a far way, as you said, man. And I don't know you before, but you're looking real good, man.
Thank you.
Good. You're saying is it as 4 packages was presented to us tonight? You had to take all 4 packages, or you concentrate on 1 package?
All 4, sir. All 4.
From the Bell Age, was it Bell Age something?
The Village.
The Inner 7, the Corona Weekend, Saki. Yeah.
All 4 has to do the work. You can all do different things.
Yes, that is correct, sir.
All right.
Yeah. And you know, I know what, you know, a lot of people say, oh, well, you know, I don't want to, you know, they're expensive or whatever. But when you like Mr. Singleton says, and you don't have to eat as much food, that's one thing. And the other thing is that, you know, you're adding years to your life. And you got to reverse some of that damage that's been going on all this time. And, you know, there's no, you know, I mean, what kind of dollar sign would you put on that? If you could go in there and clean up all your arteries and reverse pre-diabetes or whatever it is, and correct your gut by itself, it's like, oh my God, now you're feeling 10, 15 years younger. You know, I'm going on 65. I'll be 65 Thursday. And, you know, and I work out in the gym, and I know that it was, for a minute there, I was like, this is the hardest thing. I think I'm gonna quit. I felt like quitting, but now I feel so much stronger, so much more energetic than I was feeling. Because this Hasaki lets you, helps you to build more muscle. You know, you absorb 20% more protein. So your muscles start getting tougher, harder, instead of being all soft and mushy. You know, so, you know, that's something that happens when you get older.
But they all, I see they all bottom mark dietary supplement. They're all dietary supplement, or?
Yeah, they're all nutrition. There's no drugs in any of them.
All natural.
All natural. Not even any sugar, because they're sweetened with stevia, and that's also a plant. And there's actually nutritional benefits to stevia, so I understand. But yeah, these don't have any sugar in them, and they don't have any, you know, of the other artificial sweeteners in them. Yep. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Abby, for those questions. Anybody else have any questions? All righty then. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Mr. Singleton, and I definitely want to get your information so that we can stay in touch. And you know, I might need you for some 3-ways. Okay.
I'll certainly be there, ma'am. You are a tremendous person, ma'am. And the reality is anything for you at any time. You know how to reach me or reach my wife, ma'am, and we'll be glad to be there for you. Okay. And I thank you for what you do, ma'am. You are a jewel.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So guys, thanks for being on the call this evening. Thank you, Lydia. Lydia had some dental surgery today, so she didn't want to talk much. But you see this beautiful picture. So yeah, she's all that, just beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside. And she is a corporate representative here. So she's helping us with our building our team and so forth. And she's the person that actually got Mr. Singleton to help us out. So thank you so much, Lydia, for being here for us and helping us.
Juanita.
Leola, is that you?
Yeah, I want to ask Mr. Godfrey, how many shakes does he take a day? If he's still on, I mean, Mr. Singleton. Mr. Bryan, or the guy who was
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you, ma'am. Well, ma'am, I get up in the morning, and I should say when I get up in the morning, my wife will fix it. Sometimes I fix it, but most cases she'll fix it, right? And
right.
when I get up in the morning, she'll get me 8 ounces of cool water, right? And 8 ounces of cool water, and with 2 scoops, right? We stir it in, got like the little spring in the cup that come from Sanki already ready, right? And then let's sip on it, 8 ounces, and I'll do that in the morning. And I usually do that at night too, about maybe a couple of hours or maybe 8 hours later, something like that. And I might eat 1 meal after that. You know, I've heard of people like maybe putting bananas in it, putting other things in it, you know, kind of dressing it up. But I
Right.
like
So
it.
you do 2 shakes a day.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then
Yes,
in
ma'am.
between, how many Belage?
It could fluctuate, ma'am. With the Belage, if I might do anywhere from 3 to 4, sometimes a little more. If I'm doing a lot of strenuous stuff, right, then I might add a little bit more. But it average somewhere fluctuate between 3 to 4. You know, and I got to the point when I started taking it because of where I come from. You know, I've had people ask me, well, how much is it? And I asked them, well, how much is cancer? How much is
Right.
how much
Exactly.
is diabetes? You know, so I just found, and I could, because of where I came from, and I'm sure some people identify with me, you know, there's no price you put on, you know, good health and getting some rest. And your health is I'm going to submit to you that your health is your first wealth.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. And
So,
so how do you take an Inner 7 every time you do a Belage?
no, ma'am, I don't. I kind of fluctuate with it because that little small white package, don't underestimate it because it's jam packed. Okay, it's jam packed with what it have. So every now and then I might do 2. Most cases I'm gonna do 1 inside my Belage. I'll do it by itself. You know, and that's usually in the morning with my first Belage, right? Or just by itself and do 1 to find it sufficient. You know.
Okay, and the crew I always get that pronounced that red package wrong. Is Cruet? Is it
Crow-wheat.
Cruet? Crow wheat, yeah.
Look, ma'am,
I take that only once a night. I take that, it really helps me sleep.
Yes, ma'am. Look, when what I noticed, because my A1LC, when they first found it, was about 16, which is unheard of. The doctor was like, he didn't know I was still standing, right? And my levels have been well over 800. And what was tremendous, what was even wilder than that, when you're out of whack for that long, and then you start taking insulin, right? That insulin, it does a number on you because your body have adjusted to being high. So it takes you a while to really even be able to handle normal ranges, what everyone call normal, right?
So you were on insulin?
I was on insulin, ma'am. They put me on, like when I came back and they found it, they put me on pills for a short time, and they hurried up and put me on on insulin because they said that they didn't want my kidneys to hurt, but I ended up with stage 4 kidney disorder anyway,
Oh my God.
you know? And
Okay.
so when you like that, a lot of my weight had came from because your body won't get rid of fluids and things that sort like it should when your kidneys is not functioning properly. And I assure anybody who asks about the price or talk about the price, if you dealt with a kidney issue, right?
Mhm.
If you had to go to dialysis at any time, and I have those in my family, thank God, and I didn't want to go there because of what I seen, you know. And
It's
so,
bad. Yeah,
yes,
I
ma'am.
know, it's bad.
Yes,
Well, thank you so very
yes,
much. I don't
ma'am.
want to
And
hold
so,
everybody up, but I just wanted to hear that part and I'm so glad that you're doing fine and you're healthy. Your testimony is really inspiring and it's just going to keep me, my journey also. Because I just started it probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago and I'm still on it, you know?
you
So
will,
I've been,
you will do well on this, ma'am. You will do well. And I humbly submit to you that you've made a great choice, a great move. Okay.
okay. Thank you for that. That makes me feel good.
Yes, ma'am. My
All
pleasure,
right.
ma'am.
All right. Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, everybody. Any more questions before we go? All right, thank you so much, Mr. Singleton. I will be contacting you, and thank you guys. Thanks for being on the call.
You're welcome. Good night. Good
My
night. God
pleasure.
bless,
My
ma'am.
pleasure.
Good
God
night.
keep you.
Thanks,
See you
Mr.
next week.
Singleton.
Yeah,
Good
my pleasure, sir. Good night, ma'am.
Good
Good
night.
night.